pretty soon. Would like to welcome all of our superintendents out today and also welcome all of our special guests out to be with us today as well. I'm going to go around the room. We've got so many of our guests here. I'm just going to go around the room, let you introduce yourselves to us and take just a second. So.
So thanks for insight. Tim Hawkins Smith, CTA. Mary Anderson, RW Baker.
I'm really excited. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm the SEL specialist for KEDC. I'm the Christmas coordinator for KEDC. I'm Deanna Albright, KEDC Learning Acceleration Specialist.
Bill Hillgrove, School Specialty. Chris Tyler, Carmel Equipment Sales.
Cindy Roney, our guest designer. Sheila Miller, KEDC. Here, Mike, KEDC. And Northern Mike, KEDC.
Bob Akers, Western Kentucky University.
Donnie Gates, from the school.
Gary Salyer, Energy Optimizers USA.
Justin Moose, Energy Optimizers Field. Aaron Handy, the School Board Association.
We for Ohio, WKYT, and that's Debbie, WKYT. Rebecca Collins, American Fidelity Educational Services.
Warren Moore, ESI.
Ryan Esser, Woodford County Schools.
They have sent Ryan with me to keep me embarrassed. That's kind of what his job is.
Anthony Strong, Municipal Advisor.
Tricia Carroll, KEDC, Chief Operating Officer.
Michael Warfield, School Specialty.
Dale Leach with School Specialty. Not Todd Hudson with School Specialty.
Would you all mind sharing a little bit about what you're doing with us today?
Sure.
Come on up.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Dale and I'm the Regional Sales Manager. We have 3 reps with us, which are category specialists. So School Specialty is a school supply company, but we also sell furniture and early childhood and phys ed and special needs and all of those things. So those reps are not all here today, but 3 of them are. We have a door prize for everybody's in attendance. We have 3 Crayola kits that we're giving away, and we're giving away a $50 gift certificate. So I put a ruler inside that folder, and you're going to say, Dale, are you kidding me? I really needed a 12-inch ruler, right? The reason I put the ruler in there is because if you're a school district, I want you to measure your leverage. You buy supplies, you procure furniture, you do other things. You have leverage, and you can have leverage with us. So when you think of school specialty, think of all the categories, not just school supplies. So I put that ruler in there to make you think about that. And if you're buying furniture, leverage your other purchasing power to get the best price. If you're buying supplies, leverage your purchasing power to buy furniture and so on. So that being said, the winners are, open your folder up, if the green labels in the back of the right side of the folder, those are the winners. Just let us know who that is and we'll get the prize to you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, School Specialty. Also, you have a white ribbon. Those were passed out in honor of our COVID victims that we've had. Also, I wanted to take just a moment. Sanford and I had talked earlier. You know, our state, our schools have undergone a lot of trauma from COVID. We've had much severe illness. We've had staff members across our school districts pass away. We've had young people pass away. We have young people that are very sick. Had a young fourth grader took his life in McCrary County last week. So let's just take a moment and let's just take a moment of silence and remember all the needs of those in our school districts and all of our students and staff that we represent. So let's just take a moment. Thank you. And at this time, I'll turn it over to our chairman, Sanford Holbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. We'll get started here and try to get through our agenda and stuff. I think you saw me on Twitter. I know Mr. Fletcher made by. I'm a little bit quick. I kind of auctioneer a little bit on the side. So I'm a little bit fast with my talks. Before we get started, some other guests I want to introduce today. Most of us as being superintendents, this superintendent share, we know how tough a job it is. And today I want to introduce some of our new superintendents that are joining us today. We got Mr. Robert Bell, the new interim superintendent in Carter County. Mr. Larry Bigley from Russellville Independent. Mr. Stephen Evans with Bath County. And this next superintendent, she's really got the thing. She hired me to do a little job for her, did a little auctioneering and sold some surplus buses and used my commissions 10%. And about 10 minutes talked to her, she knocked me down to 5%. Miss Anna Shepherd, Floyd County. As we get started for our agenda today, we're going to do something that we did first time. It's going to be our Exemplary Community Partner Award. We're going to present this to individuals this time. And at this time, I'd like for our director, Miss Nancy Hudson, to come up and help me present this award today.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be able to make this presentation to someone that we just feel like belongs at KEDC. And if we've got an extra desk or office, we just would have her come right on over with us. And she's a good old Morehead State University girl, I will say that, and a gal from our region, KEDC's region. So this is our first annual Exemplary Community Partner Award. And this award goes to Mrs. Amber Philpott, an award-winning news anchor at WKYT TV in Lexington, Kentucky. Amber has partnered with us in several initiatives, such as our senior shout-outs, Healthy at School, and Take Your Best Sock campaign. We commend Amber for her continuous support in education, and we would like to honor her at this time. Here, I'll hug you. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah.
I have not many times left speechless. In my business, there are awards given out all the time for the stories that you do and the work that you do, but I never think about those things. And so a community award like this means more than any of those awards could possibly mean. 18 years ago, I got in this business not to be the person that you saw every single night giving you the news. I got in this business to tell stories. And after 18 years, I'm in a position where I can choose the stories that I think have value and meaning to our viewers and to our communities. I always say that education is our golden ticket. It was my golden ticket to be standing here today to do what I'm doing. And so I spend a lot of my time in schools, or I did before COVID. Hopefully I'll be back talking about just that everyone has that same golden ticket. It's what you do with it. And the people in this room every single day, no matter a pandemic or not, you make sure that that golden ticket is applied to every one of your students. So I will always be here, award or no award, to make sure that you guys are highlighted, that you're spotlighted. I know sometimes there's bad news around the schools and you don't want to see us coming, and I understand that, but I can tell you that I will always be there to be able to be a partner and to be able to showcase what you're doing. The KEDC in the last year and a half has been an incredible partner to us at WKYT. I've called on them numerous times to say, this is what we'd like to spotlight. How do we make this happen? And they have always found me amazing students to showcase, and the staff and the teachers and the superintendents to also do that. So this means the world from a gal from Harrison County. I'm very proud to say that I am from this area. I'm very proud to say that I'm a Morehead State grad. And I just want every single one of you guys to know that if there's something going on in your district that you want us to highlight, I am just an email away. And I'm going to make a shameless plug because I have the mic. I recently started a new segment called Commonwealth of Kindness. It is to showcase the things that are going on in your communities, the random acts of kindness, the good deeds. I am an email away at kindness@wkyt.com or my amber.philpott@wkyt.com. So I want to know, what do you have going on in your schools that showcases the students, the teachers, and your staff? And let me say also, I know it's been a really tough last year and a half. But it does not go unnoticed from us at the station how hard each and every one of you work, and the work that you're doing to make sure that our kids get the best education possible and that they can take that golden ticket and hopefully get an amazing award like this from great people like you. So thank you so much. Thank you for making me feel special in the job that I have the privilege of doing every single day, serving Central and Eastern Kentucky. So thank you. Carry on. I have to go to the news. So thank you for letting me bust up your meeting today, and I will see you on the news tonight. Thanks, everybody.
Go Eagles. At this time, we're very fortunate under the leadership of Director Hudson, the growth of KEDC the past few years, and we're still growing today, as I will take a motion to approve 2 new memberships of 2 new districts. Do I have a motion that we approve Jessamine County and Wolford County? Motion by Mr. Fletcher. By Mr. Saylor. All in favor with right hand? Congratulations, you're all in. Whew. Well, I didn't mention Danny was the superintendent of Wolford County. That might have been a tough vote. Hey, I kind of left that part out. Especially if you forgot to bring that reserve. At this time, we'll go by action by consent. I need a motion to approve. If you look in your agendas, 2.1 through 2.819. Or any question, or can I have a motion to entertain a motion? Go ahead and look, and if you're all look, somebody give me a motion. I got a motion by Mr. Kyle Lively and second by Mr. Tom Cochran. All in favor, right hand. Moving right along. We'll move over to items 3. These action items we'll discuss here. At this time, I'd like for our Executive Director, Ms. Nancy Hudson, to come up, and we'll start with 3.1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see everyone today. If you are joining us virtually, I want to remind you to make sure you put your name and your district in the chat box. That way we can count you as being present to the meeting and have voting rights. The first action item that we will need to approve is the recommend of creating a position of the Coordinator of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and approval of the attached job description that has been in your folder and been sent to you. This is an initiative that was handed down to us from the Department of Education, but they did at least pay for the position. And so we're very glad of that. And we're looking forward to doing a lot of that work in our districts. 3.12, recommend creating the position of an accountant executive, and the job description is also attached and in your folders. We have had a marketing position for quite some time. We've had, I left a position in there that was similar to an accountant executive. So the funds are there, but I wanted to bring it to the board because it is a little bit different. And I thought it was the right thing to do. And I also wanted you to see the job description, and also for you to help us put that out, because we do not have anyone in mind and would certainly need some help in that area. So that is an accountant executive for KPC. That's mainly what they will be doing. We might get them over to technology and let Jerry teach them a little over there. And we're busy right now, so we don't want them selling too much right now, but we might in the future, might we, Jerry? He's busy right now. So that is 3.1 and 3.12. Mr. Chairman, may I ask you to take that vote?
All right, this time we'll take action after Ms. Hudson's discussion on 3.1.1 to create the position of a Coordinator of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, a DEI position. Entertain for a motion. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. By Mr. Atkins, second. All in favor, right hand. We're good. Now we'll entertain a motion on 3.1.2, recommendation creating the position of a KPC account executive. Do I have a motion? Mr. Gillen, thank you. Second, Ms. McCain. All in favor, right hand. We're good. All pass.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will proceed to 4. We have some new initiatives going on at KEDC. Seems like each and every day we seem to get a new one, and that's okay. We're up for the challenge, because if it makes you better, we're going to be better. So we're okay with it. Our first new initiative is our Cdc Grant. As I was telling the executive board a few minutes ago, that is through Mr. Jim Tackett's office with the Healthy U and all of the Center for Disease Control. Last year, we had a grant that worked with the school districts on several different initiatives. Julia and Letitia handled all of that. We are going to be doing the same thing as we did last year with that. And the specifics of that grant will be at a little bit later date, but they are meeting with Jim Tackett and his staff and going over the different things. We do a partnership with the National Nurses Registry here in Lexington, Kentucky. They are a national or a federal group, and only KEDC works with that group in this grant. So that's something that we do, and we make videos and PSAs for information that is pertinent to the COVID situation. So that is one of the initiatives. Also through his office, you will be seeing very soon as a contest, Carla Kersey. Carla is, I can't tell you, as I told the committee a few minutes ago, the executive, she's like a tsunami. She's just taken off and works with this marketing, and she's just so KEDC cheerleader. I mean, she's always got her pom-poms, and they're all about you. And she's always very positive and upbeat, and she's taking on that piece. It's going to be a contest for your schools, for some mental relaxation rooms for your teachers. So if you can think about a cubbyhole or a place that you might be able to have your students involved or one of your clubs to make that room for teachers to have some time out or just some me space. And we're gonna be giving away a little over $2,000 in prize money for that. The other initiative with CDC, Fayette County, thanks to you all, they got one of your health and PE teachers, and she's now at the Department of Ed working with this certain piece. And it's about how we can bring physical exertion and physical activity and help our minds. And you all know you do this all the time. This isn't anything new. This research has been around a long, long time. You know, that's why people walk. That's why they run. That's why they do, you know, they go to the gym, they do yoga, karate, whatever that it is, archery. And she's going to be helping us bring a light to that. And Carla's going to be working on that with you. And we are going to start a health and PE cadre, which is so exciting for your health and PE teachers. We want them to know everything they can do and better, and how they can really help children overcome this pandemic and what we're going through still. So that's going to be real exciting, and we're looking forward to getting that started. The MSU, Grow Your Own Principal. We are so excited to have Rob with us here from Western Kentucky University. And Trisha's going to come up in a few minutes and talk a little bit more about it, or maybe Rob can. But this is Growing Your Own Principals. Folks, we've got to get in there and find those leaders. We know the research about the principal and what it means to the success of the school and to the success of students. So that principal is the main person, and we've got to make sure that we're getting the best of the best in those schools with your kiddos. And we're really excited about that work we're going to be doing with Western. And we're also doing a similar, it's a little bit different with Campbellsville. And we're going to be hearing from Rocky, and Trisha's going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not sure if Rocky made it today or not, but we're glad to have them as a partner as well. But we're spreading our wings a little bit, and we always love Morehead State, but we're also falling in love with our other friends as well. So we're excited about that. The MSU Doctoral Cohort, we are excited about that. Sanford has pushed me into a little bit on this. He's pushed Morehead State on this, and he can take all the blame or the glory for this, but Morehead has agreed to do a cohort with us for the doctoral program. I sent an email out to you. Thanks for your response. Got about 17, 18 that are interested, and really from all over our region. So we're really excited about that. And are we going to hear from Dr. Morgan a little bit? Next month. Okay, we're going to hear from Dr. Morgan actually in October, because I think they're putting together the if, ands, and buts and figuring out how we're going to do it, as a cohort. But Sanford being on the Board of Regents at Morehead State University, he's got some voice, and he's telling them, you know, we can make a difference. And it would be so wonderful for us to be able to do a cohort together and work on some projects that's meaningful to what we do each and every day, not something that's not going to mean anything to you. The digital labs, that's something that's coming very soon. We did them last year. We do some of it online, some of it is in person. You will be hearing more about that. That actually comes out of David Cook's office, Marty Parks, Laura Regunas. I say her name wrong every time, but anyway, that's something that's going to be coming as well. We'll skip on over. We did the update on the new cadres. That's the public relations and health and PE teachers and our STEAM. We had our first meeting this week, and may I say it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. So kudos to our STEAM leaders and Letitia and those folks getting that started, and Dr. Jim Evans. I have to give a shout out to Dr. Jim today. That's what we call him at the office. People have gone in there for head colds and everything else. Everybody thinks Dr. Jim is some doctor that we have at KEDC, and all of our neighbors and everybody's coming over to see the doc. Dr. Jim was notified. We were notified yesterday from the United States Department of Education that we received an arts grant. And I think there's about 17 of you involved in that. And that's going to be about $700,000 to $750,000 a year for 5 years. So that is going to mean a lot of money to you and a lot of work. And he's going to be coming to you about what that's going to mean for you and for your schools. Service booklet. You have got that in front of you. It's hot off the press. No one has seen it. In fact, when several KEDC people walked in today, they were like, oh, there's the booklet. So you've got it first. I will tell you that's a commodity. Hold on to that. 4.4, don't forget your Superintendent of the Year nomination. We do that in November. So get those to Mr. Holbrook as soon as possible, and we will get that worked out. Golf Scramble. We are so excited about having that on Saturday this year. Being able to give you a day that you don't have to worry about somebody saying, well, they're playing golf. And we're going to work very hard getting scholarships. Don't forget, we give those scholarships if you show up. I think last time we gave Tammy, about 7 or 8 $1,000 scholarships that day, but you had to be there. The school district has to be there. And in fact, we had a school district that left. And they left early and they didn't get it last year. I won't say who it was, but you gotta come. You gotta. And if you don't play, just come and hang out with us. We'd love to have you. That's all I have. Any questions on any of that information? I know it was a lot. I apologize. We haven't been together in a long time. So you had a lot of, we've been busy at KEDC. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me after the meeting, that's fine, or email me, or I'll come see you.
All right, we'll move into our informational part of our agenda. At this time, I have inspiration from the 2021 Kentucky Teacher of the Year, Mr. Donnie Pearson, Fayette County Schools.
All right, so if it looked like I was over there scrambling to write down something to speak, it's because I had this amazing slideshow prepared, but of course, as we've learned with technology over the past 2 years, it never seems to work. So thank you to Mr. Akers for the book. We have a bet going if this takes me 5 minutes or less. So we're going to bet the over under on this. All right, so first off, I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to be here this afternoon. You know, my wife, when I was getting ready to come, she noticed that I was not putting on my sandals, jeans, and a UK t-shirt. So she realized I must have been heading somewhere important. And I'm very thankful to be here. You know, I am the 2021 Kentucky Teacher of the Year, but I'm originally from Massachusetts. Actually grew up just north of Boston. I came down here to school in the year 2000, went to Asbury College, right back when it was called Asbury College. Now it's Asbury University, but it'll always be Asbury College to me. And I'd always planned on moving back home to Massachusetts, but there was just something about Kentucky that drew me in. It also didn't hurt that I ended up meeting my wife down here. And so we've now lived in Kentucky in the South for 21 years, and it's home now. You know, I'm originally from Massachusetts, but I've been very thankful for all the opportunities that I've had in this state, all the amazing students, teachers, board members, other important, scary people that I meet in my travels. So I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to talk with you all today. I was asked last week, you know, in a meeting, right? You always seem to go to those meetings, and somebody asked me, like, what do teachers need? You know, as we come out of this pandemic, what is it that educators not just in Kentucky, but all around the world need. And my initial thought was, well, caffeine and alcohol. That definitely helps a little bit. Probably one of those in schools, right? The other one right afterwards. But ultimately, I feel like what we need moving forward is, and I think you all are seeing this in, whether when you're listening to your teachers, in your SBDM meetings, like really what it comes down to is we are really appreciate every superintendent, every admin, every district coach who treats us and values our profession like the professionals that we are. And, to be honest, like we love when we get those emails when it says we value you, we appreciate you. Those definitely are warm pick-me-ups, but we love it when we actually see those words translate into actions. Whether it be the email that I received last night from my new favorite superintendent, Superintendent Liggins, who said that, hey, we've heard you, we understand how tired you are. And so we've asked the board to give students and teachers in Fayette County an extra 2 days before Thanksgiving break, just to give you all that mental health days that you need. Sorry, moving forward. Like I said, I've written this all down, so I'm trying to keep up here. And like you all, like we as teachers, we're ready to move on. Like I'm ready for masks to go away too. But before that happens, I think it's very important that all of us kind of sit back and reflect on lessons that we've learned from the pandemic. There are 3 words that I kept hearing, and it was in every board meeting, it was in every, principal meeting, it was in every staff meeting. And it was grace and equity. And one that I heard a lot was just that idea of teacher creativity. And, those 3 words are important. And sometimes we feel like, the pandemic definitely brought those words to the forefront, but that doesn't mean that it created those words, especially around equity, whether it comes with when it's related to issues like internet connectivity at home for students, making sure that there's a device in every student's hand that they can use to continue with their learning, and even that idea of grace. When we started teaching virtually, gosh, it feels like 8 years. Is it still March of 2020? Definitely still feels like it. But when we started teaching virtually, one of the first things that I heard my principal say, and I heard so many administrators from across the Commonwealth say, is make sure that you extend grace to every single student because they are going to need it to be successful. That doesn't mean that we're going to be continually making excuses for our students when they screw up, but it's so important that we reach out to them and understand what's going on about why it is they might not have dropped off that permission slip on time, or why it is that they didn't have a chance to study, or why their bags might be a mess. There has to be some understanding in order to make sure that every Kentuckian who goes through our public school system is successful. I think all of us, right? And I think I can safely say this. We've all seen what amazing professionals teachers can be and the amazing things that they can do when their backs are against the wall. All of us back in March of 2020, we had 2 weeks to completely redefine our instruction to translate what we were doing in the classroom to online. And it was hard. It was definitely not something, even someone from myself who, tends to have a knack toward technology, it doesn't mean that it was easy. But one thing I want to ask you all, you've seen what teachers can do when our backs are against the wall. But now we'd love it. Every teacher in Kentucky, if sometimes, and sometimes you got to say that thing that ruffles a few feathers sometimes, right? Sometimes if you would get out of the way and let us be creative with our students, you would be amazed the things that we would get them to do. And I say that for 2 reasons. I'm technically, as Kentucky Teacher of the Year, one of the options that I had to do, or had, was to take a sabbatical with the Kentucky Department of Ed. And I chose to do that. My wife said, hey, when else are you going to have a chance to spend 6 months working on a project thing that you want to do? And last May, when the department approached me and said, well, what is it that you want to do while you're on sabbatical? And, I've thought about it for a while. And I've always appreciated the creativity that I've seen from Kentucky's teachers, whether they're online, whether they're in person, or whether they're just in the classroom, just sometimes struggling to get through that reading lesson. I think teacher creativity is one of the most important values that educators have. And so the project that I wanted to work on during my sabbatical, I'm calling it Teachers Passing Notes. If you've got your devices, you can go to teacherspassingnotes.com and pull it up. But it's a video project that I'm doing where I'm traveling across the state, talking to different either award-winning teachers or different teachers from everywhere from Russellville Independent to Bowling Green to Hazard, where I go into their classrooms or meet after school. I've met a few in their homes and just talk to them about some of the practices that they're doing that as we come out of this pandemic that are really transformative in their students' lives. It's a project that, I'm trying to share it in as many different places as possible, whether that's on social media like Twitter or Instagram. We've teacherspassingnotes.com, but it's meant to be a place where if you're an educator that is just feeling beaten down as we come out of this pandemic and are just looking for a little spark, I've already done 10 interviews so far. I've interviewed the 2022 Kentucky Teacher of the Year, some past award winners. And by the way, if you have any teachers in your district who you're like, man, you've got to come talk to her. You've got to come talk to them. I'd love to have the chance to come and interview. Oh, look at that. That's magical right there. Yeah. Technology, it works from time to time, right? But I'd love to have the chance to come into your district and talk to some of those teachers. Just keep in mind, it's just me who's doing this project. So, if 400 of you send me an email tonight, probably can't get to all those teachers tomorrow. But this is something that I want to keep going once my sabbatical is over too. So, as we transition into the spring, summer, I'd love to schedule some time to talk to some of your teachers to hopefully provide a little, to give them a chance to share some of the creative things they're doing, that as we come out of this pandemic, as we make our way forward, that we can continue to be, I believe, the best state in the United States and continue to foster and celebrate some of the most creative teachers, well, I would say in the world, but, anyway, so cheers. Thank you all so much. Please, I did want to say this too. If you have not gotten vaccinated yet, please go ahead and do that too. That is super important. I did want to make sure I ended with that as well. So thank you all so much. And I was told I didn't have to stay for the whole meeting. Is that correct? All right. That's true. I will. I'll get it on. Thank you so much.
At this time, I'd like to introduce a member of our KEDC Ksba team. If you ain't had a chance to have one of these wonderful ladies in your district yet, you're missing out. I had fortunate luck to get one to come in my district a few weeks ago. They're going to be a great asset to all us in this service area. This time, Miss Abby Labor. Come on up.
Hello. Hey, y'all. Nice to meet you. If I haven't met you in person yet, I look forward to coming to your district and hearing about the great things going on in your schools. My team is making their way up here. They're acting like they're shy, but they're really not. In the back of your folder, you have our reporting information about the work. We just began in July, and so we are just getting off the ground. And with COVID still going full force, that's put a kink in some of our plans to get out in the districts more and to see you and be a support to you and your teachers. But is there a clicker? Oh, as I said, it was on. All right. What was that? I think he jinxed me. Donnie Piercy did, saying something about technology. You can read more about the Ksba team and how it was, how it came about in your service booklet on pages 14 and 15. And I won't go through and go through all the numbers, but if you want to check out some of the things we've been doing and the reach, you can look at our data. We're going. Oh, will you go on to the next one? Nope. Well, I'll introduce our team while they're working on that for me. So the first one is Miss Kim Sparkman. She's a Learning Acceleration Specialist. Miss Julia Staten is our SEL Specialist. Miss Dr. Rachel Holbrook is our Learning Acceleration Specialist. And Deanna Albright is another one of our Learning Acceleration Specialists. And this team, they've come together and they've been working so hard to prepare ways that they can support you in across a variety of areas. So I'm really proud of the work they've done. They are so hardworking and they are so energetic and excited about getting into the schools and helping the educators. So obviously we know remote learning didn't work for all. 36% of our students across Kentucky were without adequate internet service. And so obviously that caused some disruption to the learning process. And so Commissioner Glass helped create these 8 Ksba teams across the co-ops, across the Commonwealth. And here is a map. If you are, the Ksba teams, we want to focus on a regional approach, but have a statewide impact has been kind of our motto. And we've worked really well together, planning different ways that we can help our districts. I know that some of you sitting in here aren't part of the 21 districts that are assigned to the KEDC Ksba team. We collaborate with the other Ksba teams across the state, and you are still a KEDC member, and we are here to serve you. So if there are needs that you have in your district, I encourage you to reach out to me. I can discuss the options with you and work with your Ksba coordinator or point you in the right direction on someone on their team. And if that doesn't solve your issues, then we are happy to take care of you through KEDC. The Ksba team can work with our instructional support team and make sure that we meet your needs. But there are all the email addresses for the other Ksba coordinators across the state. So these are the 21 districts assigned to us, and that is where our focus is intended. But like I said, again, we want to have a statewide impact. So anything we can do to help any of you in your districts and your teachers, we are glad to do it. So just call on us and we'll get connected. And then also you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter to stay up to date with the events that we have going on and any professional learning that we have planned. We try to share on our social media accounts as often as possible. Our 2 focus areas are obviously learning acceleration and social emotional learning, which coming out of the pandemic, it's been more apparent than ever that we have got to be able to incorporate social emotional learning and mental health and wellness and well-being for our staff and our students. And we are a 3-year grant at this time, and we want to help you build capacity within your district to carry on this work. So we want to work with your teacher leaders, your building level administrators, and your district administrators to help put systems and plans in process that you guys can continue when you get new teachers coming down the pipe from one of our universities that we're partnering with, and to make sure that these improvements continue long after the Ksba team has gone. So learning acceleration, again, is our focus is not about speeding up learning. We want to provide evidence-based strategies and practices to give more individual attention in focused, dedicated areas to help our students make up for any lost learning or missed opportunities. And then our social emotional learning, I'm really excited about the work that's being done in our state in the area of social emotional learning and our diversity and equity and inclusion. I think those are going to go hand in hand. And I think it's been something that's been overlooked for a long time, but I'm so excited to see how we can work together and embed this into every classroom and every day in our schools. So our main goal is to help you accelerate learning and to work at those. We work closely with KDE and to work on our core instruction this first year, our tier 1 instruction. But overall, we want to make sure your students, staff, and families have what they need. So like I said before, please reach out to us in any way. If there's something, challenges your district's facing or something you would like to learn more about, we are happy to serve you. We would love to come to your district and meet with you and listen to you. We want to know more about your districts and understand the challenges you face, the things that you're really proud of. And we want you to share that with us so we can take that and help other districts in our region and in our state, but then so also that we can highlight the great things you are doing and try to encourage and help you make plans so those continue. If you are willing to let the Ksba team come and meet with you, we won't take up much of your time, but we would love to pick your brain and see what kind of things are happening in your district and how we might be of service in the future. And you can feel free to email our Ksba email at ksba@kedc.org. And again, I also want to focus on, we really want to highlight your schools and the great things your educators and students are doing. So if you let us know, reach out and email us at that Ksba email and say, we have a really great PBIS program, or we think we're really doing wonderful with our MTSS and our RTI plan, and we would like to be featured. We can call on Amber Philpott that was here and give you guys some good PR, or we want to share you on our social media so other people are inspired by the great things going on in your districts. And sometimes your educators just need to see that people are recognizing the hard work that they're putting into the different initiatives that you guys have going on. So please let us know. Other teachers can learn from your school. If you're doing something really well, we want to know about it. We want to come sit in their PLCs if you have a great process for that. So we can take that to other schools that are just building those processes and those systems. So now I'm going to share just a little bit, or I'll have Rachel come up and share a little bit about the work that we have coming up in case any of you are interested.
Thank you all for having us. And I did want to talk about, we got our charge from KDE when this team was formed. And we had three main things they wanted us to work on this year. And the first was the Kentucky Academic Standards. Those rolled out in 2019, right before the world went crazy. And so they felt like that those teachers really haven't been in those documents. And they have devoted a lot of time and effort into the organization of that work. And they also have the new website. And so we have found when we've been in the districts, those are some of the things that teachers aren't familiar with. So I'm super excited that we get to dive into a deep learning of those standards. And I've kind of taken that on because I love curriculum. That's kind of my passion in education. So on October 18th, we are inviting administrative teams from our 21 districts to join us at KEDC in Ashland. And we are going to give you a plan of how we have this cohort work designed. And so we are hoping to have two teams, an ELA team from your district and a math team from your district. And we have 5 meeting dates planned throughout the school year where those teachers are going to come together and we're going to lead them through those KAS standards. We're going to talk about building capacity in their district. And we're also going to be looking and focusing on John Hattie's work with visible learning, because that's very important. And I'm sure you all have heard a lot of that work going on. So we kind of got that directive from KDE. So that's one of our big focuses that's taking center stage, I feel like, because there's a lot of important work behind that. And the main thing I want to point out is that capacity building, because we want you to be able to take that back to your districts and you roll that out to your people in a way that fits your district, because we realize all districts are different and it's going to look different everywhere we go. And we're going to be that support team to help you. So when your teachers come, we're going to help develop their leadership through that process. And then as a follow-up, we've got some nice incentives for coming. So we've got some great resources we're going to try to provide you with. And then we want to come in your districts and help your teachers and help your teacher leaders. So that's one of our big focuses. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, Kim, you want to tell us a little bit about the virtual offering? And one thing I encourage you, the virtual sessions, that's easy. I know subs are, that's just laughable to think that you could get subs. So we're trying to offer some bite-sized PD in the evenings to where you don't have to worry about getting coverage for classes. And that after a long day of teaching, that your teachers can get a quick hour of PD that will hopefully help them start the process.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you and talk about accelerated learning. And based on our needs assessment, we've had a lot of districts and teachers reach out to us about concerns with the math. So in that building that sustainability and breaking down that standards, we're going to take a snapshot at math. And what we're hoping to do in this session is take a standard and show what do we do with that unfinished learning? What do we do when we find out our students may not be ready for that grade level standard? How do we fix that? This is our where to go to make your grade level standard work. So we're going to look at breaking down the standard, finding those prerequisite skills and how to incorporate them into the grade level standard and making this work. And through these 2 sessions, we're hoping that we work through this standard, and now the teachers will be prepared to handle any other standard that comes their way that has that unfinished learning with it. We also have several other book projects and studies that we're going to do based around math that we're going to offer to give that support that we know that our district needs in the area of math. And now, Deanna, would you like to come and tell them about our new teacher club?
Anybody have new teachers in their district in the last 3 years? I know it's very laughable, but to me, that was one part of this job that really stood out to me, that I was going to get to go into the classrooms and the districts and hopefully be a support for those teachers. And I wanted to just clarify, even though we are charged through KDE as a Ksba team, to do these initiatives in our 3-year plan, we are not there to evaluate your teachers or your districts. So we want to be that support for them. And no better way than to start working with those new teachers and give them that support. Of course, I'm sure most of us came through that where we had to do different evaluations through our K-tip years, but we all know that's not in place now. So we need to support those new teachers. So we've started a virtual new teacher club. Tomorrow is our second night of that. In that, we want to do formative assessment, summative assessment, get into the Kentucky academic standards, and just help these teachers to know those initial things that your district is going to be talking to them about that they might need a little extra support in. So we encourage you to sign up, have your new teachers register. It's not too late. Thank you.
And then kind of piggybacking off of our new teacher club, because we saw just the sheer number of new teachers that our districts were facing, is we have a fall book study coming up where the first 25 participants will receive a free copy of Harry Wong's The First Day of Schools. And we're going to do just some quick virtual book study sessions using that book because it's an oldie but a goodie. And we want all the new teachers to be prepared to face whatever challenges are thrown at them this year. And then Julia, do you want to share anything about our SEL series?
Okay, I'm Julia Staten, and I am the SEL specialist at KEDC. And one thing I thought about when Deanna was talking about new teacher club, that meeting tomorrow, they're like, oh, Julia, we think you'd be perfect for helping with that. We're going to talk about angry parents. And I was like, I will SEL those angry parents for you all. Like, let's do this. So I'm really excited that we're able to incorporate the SEL into everything we're doing. So that's kind of, where I come in. It's like, okay, well, now how can we relate this standard back and get our, CASEL, our 5 main points of SEL, embedded in there. So I really love that they include me and get that, out there. But one thing that I do is I have an SEL series that I've been working on, and I've done 2, obviously, you can see already. We all know the date, but we've had over 70 participants from all of your districts and all of the KEDC districts in the first 2 sessions. So each session we had over 70. So that's really exciting. And that tells me something. We need SEL. We have over 132 signed up for your educator self-care. Our educators need help to care for themselves right now. They're trying to pour from an empty bucket. You can't do that. It doesn't work. So, I'm really, really excited that they're signing up for these sessions. They're after school. They last an hour. And, we've gotten some really good feedback and where to go from there. So I'm really excited about the SEL work that's coming up. And I've been doing work in some of your all's districts. I'm a Ruby pain trainer, emotional poverty, and several different things that we've been working on implementing in some districts, Wellness Wednesdays, Mindful Mondays. So, always reach out if that's something that you all do or want ideas or looking to implement. And I would love to be a part of that. So thank you guys for letting us talk to you for a few minutes, and we do appreciate it.
So I just want to challenge you to think about ways that Krista can help you and to think outside of the box. We're excited because we're a new team and a new addition to KEDC. So we would like to do things a little differently and be creative in the ways that we can help you or the services we offer, aside from the traditional PDs that we would normally host at our Ashland or Lexington office, because we know that subs are so hard to come by. So think of ways that we can get into your district and help you. If we can help coach up your classified staff to become certified teachers, if we can work with your new teachers, if we can help support any of the work of the Grow Your Own Leaders program. These are some other trainings that will be coming soon. We're hoping and praying that COVID calms down and situations improve in our schools, that people can get out and come to trainings again. We're excited to offer those at either of our offices. And just sometimes I just want to remind you all that teachers sometimes just need, PD can be a form of self-care. Sometimes you may just need to say, hey, we just need to use your facilities at KEDC and we'll facilitate a session for them, or we'll just be there to welcome and greet them with a smile and give them all the pop and candy and snacks they want all day and let them have some time to work with their team. And I know that that's down the road when the situation is different, but sometimes that's good for them just to be able to step out and be out of the building to focus on some of the work with their teammates. And that can be a form of self-care for those educators, to allow them that time to do some focused work. And we want to be here to support that in any way that we can. If it's the use of our facilities or coming into your PLCs or your school and helping in any way. Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies. And once again, if you ain't had the opportunity to have these ladies in your district, they're a great asset. I've been fortunate to have one come and work with some teachers, my principal. Definitely bring a good resource into your school district. At this time, we'll have KPC Energy Contracts, Mr. Sam Atkins and Mr. Mark Riles.
Good afternoon. We will be brief. In your folder, you should have the flyer that's up on the screen. And this, I think it's also in the services booklet. So you'll have a couple of copies of that. We just really wanted to remind you about the energy contracts that are in place. We've got 4 companies that are currently on contract with us. And we're going to just introduce them really quickly in order. And so Amoresco, we have folks from Amoresco. Okay, over here. CMTA. I think I saw Tim. Yep. Energy Optimizers. And Performance Services. Marvin. Yep. So we wanted to remind you about those contracts and really remind you that if you're looking to do a project, it's probably for next summer at this point, now's the time to be talking to those folks. If it's not too late already. I know a lot of them are busy. So we know that, you know, those projects are long developing projects. They're not something you can do overnight. It takes a lot of time for them to do the engineering. The great thing about what we've done is we've tried to open this up. So it's a little more transparent. You know, energy projects have been around, guaranteed energy savings contracting has been around in Kentucky for quite a bit. We've tried to bring more transparency to that process. We've tried to implement things like the open book pricing. You know, we've tried to do things where you can see what you're going to get before you do a project, and you know, things along those lines. So we want to remind you of that. And Mark may have some things that he'd like to add as well.
Good afternoon. One thing that I have to tell you, my epiphany today is I'm getting old. So I used to work with Harry's dad. And so I want to just real briefly talk about our services. Some of you folks know me very well. Some of you folks probably wonder, who's this guy? So real quick, my name is Mark Riles, and I started my career working in a medical library. I don't think Nancy even knows that. So I learned a lot about doctors and arrogance and stupidity, which prepared me well for my practice of architecture later. So, but seriously, I worked for a contractor for 5 years, and then I practiced architecture for 15, did a lot of school work. That wasn't necessarily my field of expertise. And 1993, I joined the Department of Education, was in charge of their public school building program for 17 years. We renovated or replaced over 70% of Kentucky's K-12 infrastructure. 8,000 projects, 8.2 billion. It was a real blessing to be part of that. Since then, I have been working as an employee for Dr. Mooneyhan at the Ohio Valley Educational Cooperative, and then I also work and do services for KEDC. So the first thing I want to tell you is a little advertisement for myself. For those who don't know me and for those who do, I'm at your service. If you have any issue in facilities, hiring architects, contracts, capital planning, bond issues, you name it, you can call me or email me and I'll be glad to help you any way I can. So that's part of the services that we provide through the price contracts. I think I also want to say to you that I don't know that we have customers here today. I'm looking around maybe for energy, but we have some great projects out there that have been created. I know the Guaranteed Energy Savings Program in Kentucky kind of got off to a little bit of a rocky start. The statutes had very limited requirements and accountability. I think sometimes school districts were taken advantage of. And the superintendents and Ms. Hutchinson and Sam asked me, was there anything we could do about that? And so we did a fair amount of research. We found models for doing energy savings contracts from other states. Sam mentioned that we have a lot more transparency. The important things are basically three things that make it different than the old days of doing guaranteed energy savings contracts. Number one, you have a clear view of all the specifications of all the equipment and systems that you're going to get before you execute a contract. Believe it or not, that didn't happen in the old days. Number two, all the soft costs of a guaranteed energy savings contract have been competitively vetted already. We had 5 participants. We had 4 that were awarded. And so on a par, the soft costs of all these projects going forward are on a par and very much in line with industry standards for open book pricing. And then lastly, every component of every energy project receives 3 prices from qualified contractors. So you get to see that, and you also get to pick as an owner. So this is a real good way to do projects. I think in the past, and people probably still say this, why not just bid it out? If we got the money, let's just do it. It'll be cheaper. The answer to that is not necessarily. When you look at the overhead of all 4 of our vendors compared to a bid and spec, they're very comparable to a bid and spec operation. So the pricing is very solid, and then you're going to get to see the equipment and the different prices for each component. So it's a very good way to do projects. It might be better than bid and spec because it eliminates the risks. Number one, you get to select your contractor. That's a big deal. If you've ever been in a bid and spec operation where price is the low metric, are you going to get the most qualified contractor? The answer is generally you don't get the most qualified contractor. So, you get that opportunity, and then you get to help select the systems. You have a lot of input on the process. If you give these 4 folks the right information, they'll do a fantastic job for you. And I think in the end, you get the guarantee of the performance, which you don't get in a bid and spec process. So it's a real good way. It's a design build operation. It's a real good way to do projects. We, I think, have created a method of delivery that's very fair for school districts and provides the best value. These folks do great projects. We have a good resume for all of them if you want to check references or whatever. And I guess in the end, for humbly, you also get me, if you want me as a go-between, to help give you some guidance on those types of projects. So, Sam, I think that's. This COVID thing dominates our daily life, right? And I'm raising a grandchild and can't get her to go to high school, and I get it. We just had a presentation and so on. Right now, a lot of people, because of the uncertainty of COVID, are pausing to make decisions about facilities improvements, programs, blah, blah, blah. I would tell you that my opinion is this might not be wise, that this is a great time to consider doing facility improvements or programs or positioning yourself, or hopefully when this thing will be over someday. The Esser funds that we got from the feds is a huge deal. We've learned from the Department of Education and through some research that these funds can be utilized for facility improvements, especially if they're related to air quality, which certainly energy projects are. And they also can be used for the envelopes of buildings for the same reason. So we have roof venues that are also built around best value principles. So you may have already have a plan for your Esser funds, but certainly consider that. I see Lincoln's here, and some of the bond agents will tell you that Esser funds have been used as the savings component. And so they put the cash up front to do the projects. If you have the transparency and the contractors and the systems you like, that's a great thing. And of course, you get the guaranteed performance. But then the savings that would be generated in the future would actually come back to your general fund on a recurring basis. That's a pretty good strategy financially, especially for small rural districts that don't. I see Tim nodding his head, who don't have a lot of, maybe they have declining enrollment. So I hope that's not me. Might be my wife, sorry. Just consider that the Esser does create financial opportunities for projects. And again, we have several venues. They're built around best value. They're built around quality, high quality contractors and services. And again, we have support for that. So if there's any way we can help you, just let us know. Is that good? Thanks.
Before we get our next speaker, I got a quick announcement. We'd like to wish Tammy a happy birthday. It was Monday. We had a beautiful cake. I forgot about it, but I did that because she made me sign for 30 minutes documents. So, but if anybody wants a piece of birthday cake, she's put it out there for everybody. But happy birthday, Tammy, and thank you. At this time, we'll have our KDE Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion work by my friend and mentor, Mr. Andy Dawson.
3 years ago, as I was sitting where you guys are, I could not have imagined what the next 3 years would hold for you. I couldn't have told you what the next 3 years would have held for me. I now have a grandson, so I was telling Trish, I said, most of my conversations is with a 3-year-old, which I've been well trained to be able to do after 34 years of public education. I was invited on board 3 years ago with KEDC, and to see the inner workings of what goes on and what they are doing on a daily basis. I'm so grateful for Nancy and Trish and the entire team, because at any point in time, they're a phone call away for me as I seek advice and so forth. I will say this, I've learned not to tell Nancy or ask Nancy, what is it you want me to do? Is there anything that you need? That is like throwing gasoline on a fire, because almost immediately we got involved back in May looking at things we could do to support our districts with equity. And one of the things that we started was in June, we had our first presentation. Invitation is out to all of our school districts. You can actually go to our website, and I think there's a slide somewhere that I thought was included, but it's not, it's okay. You have a handout. In that handout, you will see a link to the Google Docs, and you can see the first two presentations we have pertaining to equity. Dr. Diane Hatchett did a presentation, and this was just amazing at the work that she put into this presentation, the information that she shares from the standpoint of working closely within her district as a superintendent. So this is great information for you. If you have a chance, go look at it. Please do. It's in your handout, the slideshow there, or the slides that you can see the entire presentation that took place in June and September. So as we move forward, what I'd like for you to do is keep in mind is we have some topics dealing with equity that we would like for you to look at. And if you have questions that you would like us to give to the presenters, because this is informative. What we're doing is presenting information to school districts. And if you have a specific question or a topic even dealing with equity that may not be here, please send me an email. My email is on there, that we can go ahead and start finding answers and information for you. In October, we do plan on having Dr. Thomas Woods Tucker, KDE's Chief Equity Officer. I've had several conversations with Dr. Woods Tucker, and it is really an exciting conversation because you can see the passion. He has tremendous passion for equity in our schools. It is something that I think, and you've heard Nancy mention already, we're going to bring someone on board to help with this initiative. So let's continue to be very much aware of some of the, you may not even realize you have an issue with equity until you start looking at some of this information. But Dr. Thomas Woods Tucker in October. In November, microphones are always taller than me. I don't care who stands up here. So I stand up. Thank you. Now I was going to tell a story that I don't want to get into that. But, equity for the LGBTQIA. And there's a lot of information that's out there. We're going to be looking at this from an informative standpoint, from a legal standpoint. And again, if you have specific questions, please feel free to email me and we'll be glad to get those to our presenters. Some of these we're still looking at who the presenters may be. In December, equity and SEL. In January, equity and economics. February, equity and special education. March, equity and gifted equity for gifted students. And April is to be determined. Our goal, keep in mind, is to provide information to you. Also, we're working in conjunction with the Department of Education. We're making sure that the information that we share with you is aligned with the information they want to present as well. So we've had great discussions. When I came on board 3 years ago, Nancy kind of paired me up with a young lady by the name of Letitia Sparks. And my goodness, you talk about someone that keeps your feet to the fire. She's amazing. So again, we're looking from you for questions for these topics. If you have questions, share, feel free to share them with me. Ask some of your staff, maybe your leadership teams, and see if they have any questions they'd like for us to address. If you have speakers that you think would be great, let us know. We would love to hear from you on that and any suggestions for additional topics. So thank you. And again, I'm very appreciative of our co-op, the leadership for the opportunities that they have given me and that they have given to each of you. Thank you.
All right, before I begin, I'd like to introduce somebody and welcome somebody. I was doing new superintendents when we first started. We missed one or she snuck in on me, but I don't know what kind of job she's doing in Clark County, but a quick observation, I like her hairstyle a lot better than the former superintendent, Paul Christie. But Miss Molly McComas, our superintendent in Clark County, welcome. At this time, our new principal certification opportunity by our own Miss Trish Carroll.
I kind of have Andy's problem always. The mic's always a little taller than me and I'm standing as tall as I can stand. But I won't take a lot of your time this afternoon, but I want to step back in time just a bit. A few board meetings ago, we've had some superintendents, ask us what we could do to help in your pursuit of principal certification, leader certification within your districts. So we began exploring that issue. And actually, it all came together by happenstance, I believe, this summer. It just sort of fell in our lap. We had Western Kentucky University, Rob Akers, who is here with us today, and Campbellsville University, and that's Dr. Rocky Wallace, came to us almost simultaneously with opportunities for you to grow your own leaders within your districts, or folks that you know within your districts that have that potential. So each of you have in your folders, there's WKUs here on the screen, the 3-page packet that gives all details of what their programs offer, and the Masters of Arts in Principal Administration or Educational Administration with Campbellsville University is also included. Terry has also included this electronically for you, which has all of the links that you can go in to get a deeper dive into, even the registration for your folks and so forth, if you have those interested. I do want to say that each of these are rooted and foundational in the PESEL standards, very much up to date, very affordable options for your principals and other leaders to work on. And basically the goal is to pull together regional cohorts of folks that can work together through this process. And I know Rob and I were talking before the board meeting, and he was expressing, if you don't have enough folks in your district to be able to do this, KEDC is willing to step out there and we'll work to find an adjunct instructor to help make this work for your folks within your districts. Because we know, I do a lot of principal selection trainings, and in districts that should have 15 to 20 applicants at least, might have a handful that come in. So we really need to be looking within. We know we have that potential within our district. So these two opportunities have come upon us, and we want to share those with you and partner with WKU and Campbellsville University to make this happen. And also would be remiss in sitting down if I didn't say that we also are continuing at KEDC our CEO option 2 rank change. It's not certification, but the rank change option. It's been very successful. We've had over 300 participants since January come on board with that. And the Western Kentucky Educational Cooperative is actually partnering with us to help in that end of the state as well to make that happen. So we have all kinds of opportunities for you to help grow your leaders. And so we want you to reach out to us. And I can say we're working with Morehead State University with that CEO option 2 in helping to partner with them in a way that can count towards some of the electives, I believe, if they choose to go on and use that in their principal certification or leadership certification. So that's still in the works. So more to come on that, I'm sure. But please reach out to us. I have on the screen my email address there. It's light green. I'm not quite sure that was the right color to choose there for that. It may be hard for you to see, but it's trish.carroll@kedc.org. And if you have someone that's not comfortable going through all of the packets and just wants to sit down and talk it through, have them contact me by November 1. I understand there's quite a bit of paperwork and gathering of documents for them on that end. So to get a cohort started in probably summer or next fall would be our goal to get this rolling. But we do want to encourage you to share this with your leadership teams, have them share this in their faculty meetings so that your teachers and other leaders in your district have an opportunity to participate. And Rob will be around after the board meeting if you have any questions for him. And Rocky Wallace, as I said, is available. I'm not sure, Sam, is he online? Okay, so Rocky would be very happy to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Next item of business, President Morgan at Morehead said that he had to step out. He's got a board member, his vice chair gave him something he needed to get done. So he had to jump and go do it, since I told him he better get it done for his evaluation. But he will have a PowerPoint next month on this program and come back with us and kind of give us the details of what it'd be like and what we got to do and all that stuff. So he said in October, he'll have a formal presentation for us all. At this time, we'll go to our partner updates. KDE. Are they on the screen? We still got people on Zoom?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Helen Jones, and I am representing KDE and the Office of Assessments and Accountability Support. Thank you guys so very much for having me here today. I just want to start by talking about a little bit about what's been going on with KDE. And as you know, with the Office of Assessment specifically, we began this week with, of course, public reporting. Take you back a little bit. I know you guys have received your data and it went public, but I want to talk a little bit about the week and how everything sort of unfolded a little bit. So in the beginning of the week on Monday, schools and districts were provided with an opportunity to see their final school data, and it's still embargoed, of course. But then on Tuesday, the media was allowed to see the embargoed data. Then, of course, today, the data went public. And this is the beginning of the regulatory period. Now, what we know, of course, is, the scores are not what we want. They're lower than what we want, but this is not a surprise. And also, I will emphasize, it's not unique to Kentucky. This is what we are seeing across the country. Given the year that we've had, this is an opportunity for the states to just begin the next phase of the work that is so important here. We have met with a lot of our vendors and our partners and just kind of talked through the data, and we're going to be meeting with some additional vendors tomorrow. We'll be meeting with ACT tomorrow to hear their grad report. So that'll be interesting to see how our students perform there as well. But again, as we said, this year was unprecedented. And I know that word is probably overused, but it truly was. But given the fact that we did not have accountability, gives us a really good starting point for moving forward with the work. I do also want to mention, and you guys are aware, that the commissioner announced an incentive for teachers to get their COVID vaccination. The department recently announced an incentive for teachers to have that are fully vaccinated to receive $100 incentive. This is about $8.8 million for our elementary and secondary elementary emergency relief fund that will be used to reimburse districts for teachers and staff, district personnel that receive the COVID vaccine. And this has to be completed, my understanding is, by December 1st. I want to make you also aware of a couple of events that are coming up that you may be interested in. One is, of course, the board meeting, which will take place on October 5th. And again, we're still in the discussion about the data and the spring assessment. So Office of Assessments and Accountability will be presenting to the board on the spring data and the reports. And then the other event that I wanted to make sure that you are aware of is the upcoming Education Summit. This is going to take place in Louisville. It's on November, it's going to be November 1st and 2nd. And I know you guys have probably heard a lot of work about the work that's going along around the coalition work for the education and what's going to happen, or the plans around what's to happen with education in Kentucky. So there'll be some additional conversation that'll take place around that as well. So those are my just few little updates that we have. Do we have any questions? Anything I can answer? Any concerns?
Any questions from the group? Thank you, Ms. Jones. I think we're good. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you guys so very much for having me.
At this time, KASS, do we have an update from KASS? Oh, Dr. Flynn was not able to be with us today. This time, KASA. Mr.
Good
Saylor.
afternoon, everybody. Hi, Sanford. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
I see you.
Just several things. You should have gotten the postcard that's sent each month from us in advance of the meeting. And I just wanted to touch on a couple of items here. The Superintendent Directory, which is always something that folks enjoy getting, is being prepared right now. You will receive an email from Wanda from our office asking for an update of your information. So please look closely at that and respond as quickly as you can so we can get those things ready. The Principal for a Day program, which KSA was very much a part of on the front end, is in full swing right now. If you are participating, thank you. If not, if you are interested in having a legislator come to your school, be a part of your district to be a part of the Principal for a Day program, if you need help or resources, please contact Wanda at KSA. And if you already have one scheduled, would you please let us know that? We're trying to collect data on the number of participants that we have in the program. And we're really excited to get a lot of communication efforts put together to support this program moving forward. Also wanted to share that we have kicked off our school HR leadership program once again this year, cohort 4, very effective. We have 20 districts from around the state that are participating, but it's not too late. If you would like to have your HR director become a part of the school HR program, have them contact me, Owens at kasa.org, or look on the KSA website. We do have a session coming up on November 5th, effective response to personnel matters with Dr. Dave Braswell. It'll be an online session, and we certainly would welcome anyone who wants to join the group at that time. We work out all the details when they contact me. But I'd also like to remind you about the KSA Now series. Really excited about this year. Andrew Murata, from Surviving to Thriving, the principal, amazing principal from New Jersey, who's leading a series of principal trainings through the year. He kicks off in October. Brian Goodwin from McCrell will be presenting the myth of the superhero leader, balanced leadership, and the importance of taking care of people. Jay McTighe, backwards design, assessing student learning using the backwards design series. Dr. Doug Reeves, we're really excited about having him, 7 Elements of Effective Leadership in Education, later in the year. And then Dr. Robin LaSalle, the author of Shattering Inequities, a fantastic book that supports the work, Andy, that you're doing around equity. It's an amazing story that she has and a great program. I want to say thank you to everybody for your support for KSA. Looking forward to seeing everybody in the future. And thank you very much, Sanford. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you, Mr. Saylor, very much. All right. It's kind of one of them things, you get the little notes handed to you. You got to read these off. We have another birthday in the house. This is a special birthday. It's not many times you get to celebrate the birthday of a former superintendent who was a superintendent of a one-room schoolhouse. Mr. Wendell of Ross Sinclair, happy birthday. And a one-room schoolhouse was the district you was in charge of, right? A one-room schoolhouse back in the days, one-room schoolhouse. That's what I said, one-room school. We got KSBA.
All right, well, it seems like everybody's been speed reading through this, and I know it's at the end of a long meeting, so I'll be brief, but I have several sort of totally disconnected things to go over. So of course, thank you for letting me come from KSBA to talk to you again today. I sent a little one-pager that may be in your packet, or if it's not, everything's kind of front and center on our website. One thing to announce, We have a new scholarship program that we're trying to get up off the ground through our foundation at KSBA. For many years, we've had what we call the first degree scholarship, which we've expanded recently. We give every year 2 male students and 2 female students who are the first members of their immediate family to go to any kind of post-secondary degree, a scholarship at our annual conference. This year, we're keeping that and also moving into the CTE world of post-secondary. We are very excited to have an all-new scholarship program. And I know that you're probably completely underwater, and even something good like that is almost more than you can give thought to. But if you can look at this information and consider nominating a student from your district for this, we really think we've had a lot of support from KDE to work it out. We're going to give quite a few of these away. This money is going to be covering the cost of the assessment required for an industry certification. We're going to give at least $12,000 away, 2 of these in all of the KSBA regions, which in some cases are very small, just sort of a handful of school districts are in each one of our regions. So there's a very good chance that some of your students, if you apply, might be in the running for this. So we're going to see how it goes, and this is the first time we've done it. We might tweak that based on how this first season of awards goes. The deadline to apply for that is coming up, I believe, at the very end of November for both of those. We hope that will be something not only great for those students that end up winning those scholarships to pay for those assessments for certifications, but just one more thing that we can all do to promote career and tech education, more than just a 2 or 4 year degree. So I wanted to point your attention to that. The information, the forms to fill out for that scholarship are just front and center on our website. Also, the regional meetings, several of the regional meetings, we're more than halfway through now of those 12 regional meetings. But several of those covering the region covered primarily by your co-ops still have not happened yet. So I encourage you and your board members to go to those. A big part of the program we discussed at those this year is giving back the legislative issues survey results from what we did earlier in the summer, and also having roundtable discussions among our board members and superintendents about some of those issues leading up to session. Every once in a while, when a bill passes that you either really wanted or really did not want, we get some feedback from some board members and sometimes superintendents that say, well, why did KSBA feel a certain way on this bill? Or you should have worked harder to pass it or kill it. All of these things, all of our legislative agenda and our stances on these things come from feedback from board members. So these regional meetings and these discussions is a great way to directly, have your board members reach out to us to share your concerns on these things and have a real impact. So please look at the schedule for those. Our monthly webinar series of training for board members continues. The next one is going to be October 13th. It is going to be about superintendent evaluations. All of the ones the monthly webinars that have already happened this year are all recorded, and they are available on demand. If you just reach out to us and kind of fill out a little simple form, any board member can watch any of the ones that have already been recorded or sign up for the ones still to come. Most of the state required topics, sort of 1 hour for superintendent evaluation, 1 hour for ethics, most of those could be met even just by these pretty inexpensive, you sit at home or anywhere and watch these webinars and get those out of the way. They have been extremely popular. That's one of the good things that came about from COVID that we've already discussed today from some other folks, is that doing a lot more online training is something that our people have really liked, and we're going to keep going. Speaking, another thing I wanted to mention about KSBA training for board members. For many years, we have offered from our cadre of trainers, which a couple of members of our cadre are even in this room. You can reach out to us and we can customize training for you, your entire board, or any one of your board members. We can come do in-district training. We sometimes do that when the OEA has done some sort of investigation in your district. And if sometimes they require a board member or your entire board to get maybe 2 or 3 hours of training on some topic. Anytime that involves boards, we are always able to customize and respond exactly to that OEA, the findings that they have, and come do that. As a matter of fact, even as we speak, in one of the districts of this co-op, we have someone from our cadre doing some training that came about from an OEA report. So always reach out to us whenever you need something like that. The last thing I'll mention is something that came about at one of our regional meetings a couple of weeks ago. We, of course, have seen the news in Kentucky and out of state about some of the public participation that has happened at local board meetings really since the beginning of the pandemic. Even when it was things that the state was doing that was not up to the local board to do, sometimes people came and aired their frustrations to the board members. And also recently, when the boards were in charge of keeping a mask mandate in place or not, we had some local boards in Kentucky that had some folks show up and voice their opposition to some of those things at board meetings. A few times it has gone beyond what we would call sort of protected civil rights, protected sort of protests and demonstrations. There have been some things that we've become aware of in Kentucky that really go beyond that. I mean, in particular, at one of our regional meetings, the board said, we didn't make a big deal about it. You probably didn't hear about it in the press, but during one of our board meetings, all of the vehicles of all 5 of our board members were broken into and vandalized out in the parking lot. We did not think to have someone guarding the cars in the parking lot, but now they're going to for the foreseeable future. So just to remind all of you, many of the things that we've seen in Kentucky and elsewhere like this are crimes. Like I said, they go way beyond sort of protected demonstration, vandalism, harassment, terroristic threatening, carrying a gun, concealed or not, on any school-owned property, including the central office. These are all crimes. They have been crimes forever, many, many years. So please reach out to your local law enforcement officials, your SROs, reach out to your Commonwealth attorney, and please, and we are here to help as much as we can in any way to address anything like that, because that goes way beyond what any board members deserve or signed up for, or any of you or your staff especially. So please reach out to us anytime that your boards have any concerns on any of these things. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Do we have any of our university partners still with Mr. Pace, Ms. Miller, Dr. Miller?
Hi, I'd like to remind you that Morehead State University still has test optional admissions, and test optional scholarships are still available for the next year. We'll be maintaining that policy through this year for next fall semester. We would like to remind you that Eagle outreach teams, Dr. J. Morgan may have contacted your district and you to ask if we could come in and do recruitment in the schools. We're really trying to up our recruitment, and we appreciate if you allow those Eagle outreach teams to contact you and come on out to do seniors. We'd like to focus on one meeting with seniors in the fall and one meeting with juniors in the spring. We're looking forward to coming to your district. Also, a little brag, Morehead State University was recently, in the last week and a half, named by U.S. News and World Report as one of the top 25 colleges and universities in the South. And we're really proud of that. It's for academic excellence. Thank you very much.
Any more university partners? All right, getting down to the end of the agenda. Superintendent concerns. Do we got anything anybody want to talk about? We got a university partner online?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I don't know. There may be more than just me. This is Ann Burns with Eastern Kentucky University. So I'm not sure whether there are others online or not, but I just wanted to say it's good to be here. I appreciate being informed by KEDC. The partnerships that you all have are fantastic. EKU's principal certification and teacher certifications are all also PSEL based, and we would love to partner with you. We have just introduced a new doctoral strand for maybe your teachers who are not interested in becoming educational leaders, but just want to focus more on curriculum and instruction. That is a track that Eastern Kentucky University now offers through our EDD program. So not only do we have the educational leadership and policy studies track, we now have a curriculum and instruction track. And if any of you all are interested in more information, you can email me at ann.burns@eku.edu. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or come to your district and talk to you about any of our programs. Thank you.
Thank you. This time from KSPMA, Chris Tyler.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a couple minutes. My name is Chris Tyler. For those who I don't know, which is only a handful of superintendents, I think I'm CEO of Thermal Equipment Sales, but I'm also a volunteer board member for KSPMA. KSPMA is Kentucky School Plant Management Association, and we have our annual conference next month. It's October 20th and 21st here in Lexington. So wanted to invite you all to attend to it, but maybe more importantly, if it's not something for you to attend, if you have a facilities director or maintenance person that you'd like to send, then I'd love to ask for y'all support for them to come on behalf of your school district. And one of the ways that I always try to explain it to superintendents is, while you all have the opportunity to network with your peers at places like the co-op meetings or at CAS, a lot of times the facilities people or maintenance people don't have a chance to network with their peers from other school districts. So there's a lot of great education on the Monday and Tuesday of that week. There's going to be continuing education hours for HVAC journeyman hours for electricians, plumbers, I think, and others. On Wednesday and Thursday, that's the actual trade show. And the 2 days will be filled with presentations as well as entertainment on Wednesday night. But it's really a great opportunity for your maintenance and facilities people to be able to connect with other peers. Actually, Patrick Richardson is superintendent's representative on the board. So he's on the board with us as well. And then Johnson County has a person who's on our board. So there's a lot of involvement from the co-op. If either yourself or someone from your district would like to attend and you or that person has never been before, then I have some cards with me back in my seat that have a promo code on the back of it for free registration. It's typically $250. But if you or your person has not been before, then just see me after the meeting. I'll give you one of these cards that has a promo code, and I'll be back there if you have any other questions. If you have anything to add or chime in. All right. Thank you all.
Now we'll go back. Superintendent concerns. Anybody got anything to say, speak about? I'm sure everything's just going smooth. When I have problems, I call David Gillum. That's all. That's my. And if you do got problems, you can call me. If I think you got problems, I was in Tennessee before my school district started. I get up to come home, get online. First thing I see, Pulaski County Superintendent calls Governor a liberal lunatic. First thing I did, I called Pat. I said, Pat, I'll stick with you. You brought the way to KD and Frankfurt on us, but I will stick with you. So I'm that type of superintendent. I'll stick with my colleagues.
Oh, it wasn't Pat.
It wasn't Pat. No, that was the headline. Then you got into the paragraph. It said Science Hill. Yeah. But the headlines, I woke up that morning and said Pulaski County, and I reached out to him first thing and said, I'll stick with you. You brought the way of the world down on us, but I'll stick with you. It wasn't him.
Absolutely.
All right. This time, Miss Nancy has something to speak, and we'll do our drawings.
We are ready to draw. I know we have overloaded you with information today. I can see your eyes are glassing over. I apologize. We just had a lot of info, Wendell, and then we're going to go have a birthday celebration.
Right.
Hey, on your table, take those to anybody that does your Twitter. Carla will appreciate that. We are doing fall challenges. This is going to be some fun, and you want your district involved in that. Okay, who is it, Mr. Holbrook?
Or what? Or here you do it.
I'm taking the mic from him, okay? Lisa McCain, Augusta Independent, your check's in the mail. Mr. Holbrook gives me a name. Danny Atkins, Woodford County. One more, and this is for the KEDC basket.
Did you find it? No.
He's not here.
Oh, new one.
Is he? Tim Bobrowski? Well, Tim, there you are. I didn't see you come in. Tim won the basket. Congratulations.
We are officially done. Oh, Mr. Danny Atkins. Yes, sir.
I would like to ask everyone to keep Johnson County educational teams, football team, the whole entire community, Coach Matt's family,
Yes, huge loss for the Johnson County community and the school system. Coach Matney was a upstanding person, leader of young men and stuff. So we definitely want to keep them in prayer and keep our districts in prayer. Miss Watson not with us from Lee County. She's had a tough time with 3 staff members, 1 school. Mr. Thomas from Fayette County losing a student, and the kid in Mercury County. It's been a tough ride for all of us. So ever thought and prayer will be appreciated, and especially Mr. Cochran and stuff, and wish you all the best, and we're here for you. Thank you all.